on Erangel's southern terrain. For Envy's aggressive dominance was notable, but Vampire Esports stayed patient and capitalized when it mattered most. Plenty of shake-ups with more intense matches that happened all around the south part area of Erangel. So it was again an explosive gameplay coming from everyone, considering that. It was hard to begin with. At the very start of the game, the circle landed down south in the military base, and almost everyone, had to travel from the main peninsula just to get down to that island.
True enough, and whoever cops the spot early definitely gets to catch all the other late worms moving into the island. And like you said, certain teams, they didn't even manage to make their way across. There were battles around the outskirts. BTR have also impressed me because they were one of the latest teams to join into the island, but they won almost every single battle to be able to get by. So that top three is definitely worth a whole lot because BTR could have actually been in a worse position. Boing Donkey has definitely had some decent results, but for MV's very own Rifus, he took charge of whoever moves into the middle base.
And again, the initial circle landing down south created a tough game for many teams, forcing difficult rotations and high pressure engagements early on. But that is, of course, not a problem for the side of For Miracle Vibes. They didn't exactly get the chicken dinner, but they were able to snatch the MVP title. So that is, of course, Rifus, everyone with 5 elimination points. And also, what happened, I think one of the key moments as well, just to be fair for the other teams that also playing inside the game, A1 Arrow, they fell to Team Flash in an early clash. Ooh, that rhymes. Cutting their match short. That is, of course, an unfortunate a scene, for the side of the Bangladeshis. And of course, I think the main story right here is that For Miracle Vibes, despite not having the chicken dinner, still dominated the military base, of course, using the position to secure most of their eliminations. But of course, at the end of the match, it was Vampire Esports who was able to kind of nail the coffin, pun intended.
Pepsodent, sebagai perawatan gigi dan mulut pilihan keluarga dan timnas Indonesia. Siap dukung untuk berani unjuk gigi 10 kali lebih kuat. Beli Pepsodent, menangkan tiket nonton Piala Dunia.
Yeah, and I guess you can only have this kind of control when you have full trust on your teammates, and you can see the results speak for itself. Rifus with 5, of course, he was the MVP, but Doc and Zio, they definitely have put on their work individually to zone controlling over onto each respective quarter. That's 4 points and 3 points respectively for both Doc as well as Zio. And of course, who could forget when he took charge of that fight over onto that quarter where members of Nongshim Red Force was pushing up against him, and then he just really had to, of course, be settled with the rest of BTR to be swinging right in as well. So massive points for MV, still come up ahead with 19 points. That's 1 point right above Vampire Esports because they managed to delete teams who moved into the island. Meanwhile, over on the mid pack, we have high numbers, 9 points for Boing Donkey, Pikachu Esports as well, and not forgetting Team Flash with 8 and the Savior with 7. So a lot of all these teams coming from Southeast Asia are doing a whole lot in the island.
Okay, I mean, South Asia. Speaking of South Asia, if I'm not mistaken, I read it somewhere that PMNC Nepal is actually ongoing. So why is Horror Esports here? I'm not sure. I just have to check it.
PMNC.
PMNC. Yeah, in Nepal, right? So I'm not sure why they're playing here. But anyway, wow, this is an all-time low here for the throwables used in the game. 67, not even a triple digit. And for this round, no airdrops looted. I mean, understandably so, because again, the circle went to the military base, so everyone had to give up their position as fast as they could from the main peninsula. They just have to travel. They know the importance of actually getting to the military base, or one of the teams that should get to the military base. And so nobody had a chance to go for that special.
Wow.
Overall rankings, BTR?
28 points, and then just right behind them, For American Vibes, 1 point difference, and then followed by Vampire Esports, who's 2 points behind BTR, and Alter Ego. They got themselves pretty much consistent records, but that is 24 points so far without a chicken dinner. This is a very tight race that we're looking at here, Red Queen.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got all of the big names, right? In the top three. That is why I just know that it's going to be an exciting invitational showdown from Ruthless Hype Esports, because these teams and the teams that we do expect to kind of perform is doing just that. And, it's a very different case during the Night of Champions. The big names that we know during the Night of Champions kind of played it passively, except of course for Miracle Vibes, who kind of just popped off, from the get-go, right off of the bat. But yeah, I mean, this is an exciting part, because even like Void Donkey here, T Flash, not so much on D Saber just yet, but then again, everyone is moving up the ranks, except of course coming from some of the teams from PEL.
Yeah, and once again, I iterate, they really have to connect via VPN, so latency could always be a little bit of a pain for players to deal with, which is why I guess it wasn't really big performances. Other than LGD, I think LGD so far has been at least been able to put themselves in a very decent spot, but of course, there's still many more games to go over onto the course of not only this evening, but tomorrow, day after, all the way up to Tuesday. So there's absolutely chances out there. I'm happy I got myself that first point out there. So that being said, we'll go on a break and we'll see if we're going to be able to get more predictions correct. So do stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Red Queen, together with Contra, and we are still your casters here for the Invitational Showdown set out by Ruthless Hype Esports. And now, if match 3 on Erangel taught us anything, it's that the stakes are rising fast. We saw Miracle Vibes dominate with 14 eliminations, and from their prime positioning at the military base. But it was Vampire Esports again who held the nerve in the final moments.
Yeah, and the race is absolutely on for those who are the forerunners so far in these.
Banyak alasan buat lampaui batasan bareng Valorant. Buat si Abe yang cuma punya satu teman komplek ini, di Valorant dia punya ratusan teman online yang ngajak dia main. Terus, buat gamer yang harus LDR-an gini, mereka tetap bisa ngedate sambil keliling dunia di Valorant. Buat sahabat lama yang udah jarang ketemu karena sibuk ini, sekarang mereka bisa reuni lagi di Valorant. Are you ready to play?
Jadi anggota DPR ya mau nggak mau memang konsekuensinya sibuk, baik di bulan Ramadan ataupun tidak. Ya karena kalau kita pengen efektif terlibat di dalam politik, pasti kita harus menjadi bagian dari yang disebut sebagai policy makers kan. Kita harus terlibat di dalam pengambilan keputusan. Nah, pengambilan keputusan itu kan ya ranahnya memang dua yang paling kunci kan. Satu namanya eksekutif, yang kedua legislatif. Nah, makanya pintu awalnya pastilah legislatif. Jadi setiap politisi pasti punya mimpi, ya, atau rata-rata lah ya, rata-rata punya mimpi untuk menjadi anggota DPR di berbagai tingkatan dengan harapan dia bisa terlibat di dalam pengambilan keputusan. Kan kata orang banyak jalan menuju Roma. Nah, kata kiai banyak jalan menuju surga. Pertanyaannya, berapa jalan menuju DPR? Teman-teman di DPR kan juga berkomitmen bahwa kalau Ramadan tiba begini, itu jangan sampai produktivitasnya menurun. Makanya akhirnya agenda-agendanya juga tetap berjalan. Rata-rata kalau agenda yang di DPR ya, baik itu di komisi, sometimes juga di fraksi, itu mungkin antara 3 sampai 5 agenda lah dalam sehari ya. Dalam berbagai bentuk rapat kerja, rapat dengar pendapat, atau rapat dengar pendapat umum, dan lain sebagainya. Awal mulanya karena mungkin ya, karena saya ini kan berpolitik sejak mahasiswa. Jadi saya angkatan tahun 91 dan sejak awal menjadi mahasiswa itu saya aktif di sejumlah organisasi mahasiswa baik intra maupun ekstra. Nah, aktivitasnya kalau zaman dulu kan ya kita diskusi, kita juga demonstrasi pada saat diperlukan, kita berjejaring dengan banyak mahasiswa di berbagai kota dan seterusnya. Nah, kemudian kita juga bergelut dengan dunia LSM. Dulu saya di Salatiga juga sudah aktif di sejumlah LSM lokal gitu. Salah satunya LSM yang dibina oleh Kiai Haji Mahfud Ridwan. Nah, itu Kiai Mahfud ini teman satu kamar dan satu kuliahnya Gus Dur waktu di Baghdad, Irak. Nah, sampai kemudian akhirnya ketika pasca mahasiswa kan itu jalur itu kan terus nyambung. Nah, sampai akhirnya saya bertemu dengan Pak Matori Abdul Jalil almarhum. Saya diajak beliau ke Jakarta. Akhirnya kiprah politiknya jadi terus setelah lulus tahun 96 saya, terus kemudian langsung ke Jakarta sama Pak Matori. Nah, Pak Matori kebetulan punya satu yayasan politik gitu. Nah, saya ikut ngurus itu di dalam proses menjelang reformasi 98 sampai terlibat di sana, dan ketika Pak Matori diberi kepercayaan oleh Gus Dur untuk menjadi ketua umum PKB yang pertama, nah udah saya langsung diajak masuk PKB saat itu hingga hari ini. Nah, di dalam Islam, karena kebetulan saya ini mendapatkan doktrin keislaman dari lingkungan NU, nah kita meyakini bahwa politik itu adalah sesuatu yang mulia, ya kan? Politik itu mulia, politik itu baik, makanya ya kita dorong juga orang-orang baik untuk masuk di dalam politik, agar politik itu diisi oleh orang-orang baik, diisi oleh mereka yang punya gagasan, mereka yang punya cita-cita, mereka yang punya mimpi besar, sehingga negara kita ke depan itu bisa lebih baik juga gitu. Bahwa jalan politik itu banyak. Kan kata orang banyak jalan menuju Roma. Nah, kata kiai banyak jalan menuju surga. Pertanyaannya, berapa jalan menuju DPR? Kalau kita tanya umumnya hari ini, mungkin jawabannya seolah-olah bahwa jalan menuju DPR itu hanya uang. Apakah benar begitu? Kan enggak. Enggak, karena juga ada teman-teman yang dia bisa terpilih ya kan, karena memang benar-benar berjuang, dia melakukan komunikasi, melakukan engagement, melakukan sosialisasi, dia melakukan canvassing dan berbagai macam strategi lah dengan berbagai macam model. Nah, memang dunianya semakin pragmatis. Nah, tetapi ada satu keyakinan dan kepercayaan yang harus kita pegang terus, bahwa uang bukan segalanya juga di dalam politik. Mungkin kalau boleh diibaratkan kan ya, politik itu kayak main bola di sawah kan. Jadi sometimes kaki kita kotor karena main bola di sawah. Tapi as long as hanya kaki yang kotor, berarti masih aman. Tapi kalau perut kita kotor, dada kita kotor, kepala kita kotor, berarti kita udah jorok banget gitu. Nah, dan ketika udah pada level itu level kebermanfaatannya biasanya kan turun atau rendah gitu. Nah, oleh karenanya ya kalau niat ya, dari sisi niatan, karena niat kita berpartai itu kan berjuang nih. Kalau di doktrinnya NO, doktrinnya PKB itu kan kita berpolitik kan karena kita menegakkan ideologi Ahlus Sunnah wal Jamaah kan, yang moderat, yang inklusif gitu. Nah, sehingga kebermanfaatannya itu menjadi pertimbangan utama agar kehadiran kita, keberadaan kita, peran kita ini benar-benar bisa bermanfaat untuk lingkungan yang dari waktu ke waktu lebih besar gitu. Hari-hari saya sejak zaman mahasiswa itu saya memang lebih menghabiskan hari-hari dan waktu saya itu dengan masyarakat, ya melakukan pendampingan pada petani, pendampingan pada buruh, kaum miskin kota gitu. Sampai-sampai ibu saya itu kalau nanya kan gini, pakai bahasa Jawa, dia bilang, kowe iki sesuk arep dadi opo le gitu. Kamu besok itu mau jadi apa nak, kira-kira gitu. Nah, saya bilang ke ibu saya, udah tenang aja Bu, kalau saya mikirin rakyat kan pasti juga mikirin ibu, karena ibu bagian dari rakyat gitu. Tapi kalau saya mikirin ibu kan rakyatnya belum tentu ikut. Nah, kira-kira gitu kan. Ibu saya ketawa-ketawa kalau saya jelasin begitu. Nah, saya tuh meyakini dua hal, karena ini ajaran dari orang tua kan. Satu, meyakini kerja keras. Karena kerja keras itu, apalagi yang kita lakukan dengan kreatif dan inovatif, itu akan menghasilkan prestasi. Tapi yang kedua, kebaikan. Nah, kebaikan yang kita lakukan terus-menerus itu akan melahirkan kebaikan yang lebih besar atau kebaikan yang lebih banyak. Orang NU menyebutnya berkah kan itu, karena kebaikannya itu mengalir terus-menerus. Nah, karena keyakinan dua hal itu dari ajaran keluarga, ya sudah, saya menjalani proses itu ya modal itu aja, ya sudah, pokoknya niatnya baik, motifnya baik, tujuannya baik, kita lakoni dengan kerja keras, sekeras-kerasnya, sebaik-baiknya, sehormat-hormatnya, kira-kira gitu. Nah, hasilnya ya kita serahkan saja pada Tuhan, kira-kira gitu. Tetapi dalam hitungan atau kalkulasi politik kita ada hitungannya sih. Misalnya kapan misalnya kita ini bertarung jadi DPR, kalau kalah gimana, kalau menang gimana, pasti kan ada hitungannya. Tetapi secara keseluruhan saya ingin mengatakan ya lebih banyak mengalirnya. Karena kadangkala kita ini terlalu ngatur dunia itu juga susah kan. Ya udah, kita percaya bahwa sudah ada yang ngatur kok. Ya kan? Sudah ada yang ngatur semua. Yang penting tugas sejarah kita ini adalah kita bekerja sekeras-kerasnya, sebaik-baiknya, sehormat-hormatnya. Dan saya yakin ketika kita punya mimpi besar, lalu kita menjalani itu semua, ya pada akhirnya kita akan sampai pada titik di mana kita harapkan. Ya ada beberapa sih sebenarnya. Misalnya saya ambil contoh adalah dulu ada program namanya SM.
Past 3 matches, even Alpha 7, who has gotten a little bit of a break, but he have not been able to also match up to the tempo where these guys from Southeast Asia, they're really getting themselves pretty much in the right momentum so far. It might actually be a very dominant force that might look to be unstoppable, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be teams to be able to challenge that, because we now see the return of Group A, where A7, Horror Esports, D+ Kia, and Alter Ego are back in action.
You know what, Void Donkey quietly made their mark as well. It just goes to show, their tactical resilience during match number 3. And now that we are again having another group here to play for Miramar, it's going to be a whole different playing field. I'm actually trying to check out the teams and who I'm going to be picking up next. But yeah, Desert's open terrain again will challenge every squad to bring their best long-range strategies and precise rotations. I do wonder who or which team will carry the momentum from the last round to this one.
Out of all the names out there, I'd really want to see how this Alpha 7 answer back end. So far, I think that one of their strength lies in their mastery in these map of Miramar. If it's going to be a northern-centric circle, so I think that I'm putting my chance on Alpha 7 to get another chicken dinner right here.
Alpha 7 is not a bad choice, to be honest. It's going to be match for A versus B, so It's hard to say. I'm gonna go with Alter Ego Eris.
Oh, solid choice. That's kind of like on the back of my mind as well. So everybody's picking something with the letter A. So production, is it ASI8? Is it gonna
Should
be Horror
be A.
Esports? Is it
It
who
should
exactly
be
is it gonna be?
A.
Okay, I guess we're gonna wait and find out. Also, considering that Horror
Hurrah!
Esports, okay, let's go. Horror so far, they're really on the streak when it comes down to getting all those kills, all the elimination points that they bagged so far has been pretty much convincing. But I believe that horror esports, they usually are the type that warm up to it, and then once you hit that later stage of the day, that's where that full potential unlocks. So I'm just keeping my vote for now. So I hope I'm actually right, but
Pepsodent tiap hari, cegah gigi berlubang 10 kali.
Kok 10 kali?
Yuk tanya Pepsodent baru, gratis konsultasi dokter gigi.
Hai Zi, Pepsodent baru, perbaiki lubang kecil tak kasat mata, 10 kali lebih kuat cegah gigi berlubang.
if it is going to be a chicken dinner right now for Horror Esports, everyone's going to be happy, especially for production, of course.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's a different play style that we are seeing coming from Horror Esports. Again, during the Night of Champions, they were pretty passive. I didn't feel their presence or whatsoever. Usually they have this early eliminations during NOC, but today, at the beginning of the match, I felt their aggression slowly creeping up, maybe because the stakes are higher this time for the Ruthless Invitational Showdown. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed as well for Horror Esports. I know there's a lot of purple hearts down there in the comments section just cheering out for them, and I do love the passion that you guys bring forth to the table. But yeah, now that we have chosen our predictions for this round, and again, Alter Ego Eras, who can deny their power, their tenacity inside the battlefield? Just a while ago, they kind of had an explosive moment, if I'm not mistaken, in Wrangle. So perhaps we can see just that again happen for this round.
That's true, and perhaps it might just be another massive round for that same team overall. But look at certain teams who are coming in from Group A. They got their refreshments, probably their dinner. I'm kind of jealous because neither of us get to actually enjoy our dinner while we're actually here on the desk. But hopefully, if we do actually get proper breaks, so then we will be able to do much more with that. But overall, I'm just enjoying my time alongside with you, Andy, as we have seen a lot of brilliant plays thus far. And now this race coming in from BTR and also Vampire Esports, I'm starting to lose track of names out there. I remember Alpha 7 was on number 4, but who's on number 1 and number 3? I'm kind of confused in between some of the names here. You're definitely somewhere in between.
I feel like BTR is at the top spot. I mean, if you're talking about the leaderboard ranking, BTR leading by 1 point.
1 point, and then followed by, I believe it was either Vampire Esports or one of the other guys. But don't worry, I guess once we get in the game, we get ourselves that confirmation anyways. So it's a four-way race, which is just marginal, right? It's all about whoever gets those big number of all these elimination points, and if it's going to be a chicken dinner, then that's great, especially for the side of BTR, who is still very much involved in this match. Now, I want to see more activation coming in from some of these guys out of maybe the Savior. Team Flash so far looking very explosive, especially on that round of Wrangle. The Savior, they got caught on in between most of these rotations, so I think that's one thing that they really want to fix moving into these upcoming matches.
Honestly, I didn't expect for the big names to pop off at the beginning of the matches. Usually I see them really perform maybe halfway through in the tournament, but again, it's a different vibe that I'm getting from them. And so I guess everyone is just happy down there in the comment section. I've seen the numbers go as high as 14,000 in terms of the viewers that we have. So you guys are real MVPs. You guys are the ones bringing in the energy to this whole competition, and I'm always happy to be here, guys. I hope that you are entertained. You're loving the show. You're seeing your favorite players and your favorite teams battle it out head to head. Because we've got, the cream of the crop, so to say. The best of the best coming from all the regions. And I'm happy that we do have teams from PEL that are actually participating in this kind of off-season tournaments. I mean, it is about time that we see them how they play in the battlefield, their IQ and game IQ, and also just strategies overall.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that they're so far doing certain case studies, and in terms of the latency stuff, there's only so much you can do about firepower in certain instances. So that's why we will actually see them play for a lot more positioning. Thunder Talk LGD so far has absolutely impressed. Our Warriors, they try to get into the altercation, but they got crumbled inside of that area of their pure. So hopefully Miramar's going to treat them a lot better this time. A few more seconds to go as we will now move into our fourth matchup of the night.
Whew. All right, here we go. We're about to move into match number 4 on Miramar. It's time for teams, of course, to test their mettle on the sprawling desert terrain. This map is all about endurance, precise rotations, as we keep on saying, and long-range engagements. The big question is, ladies and gents, will the leaders keep their momentum, or will we see a surprise breakout, from the dark horses that we speak of? So it's anyone's game for now. Let's dive into action.
There we go. This time, pretty much skewered towards the north point as well as the far western corner of the map. That's going to be a direct drop for Tianda to be moving into El Azahar, or perhaps even copying Cristobal for their own. But knowing for sure, Alpha 7 is going to be falling pretty closely this time around. And it seems like there is going to be a little bit of a roster swap coming in from Blue, as Vox Punk is going to be on board as well. So keep your eyes peeled for what Vox Punk has to offer this time around. The rest of the members of Formidable Vibes, they are looking for that extension onto Chimosera A7. Instead of moving into Cristobal, they're opting to cut directly onto El Pozo, which has been their usual main spot as well. But you know who else takes that spot? The Saber. But where exactly is the Saber? They're on the break, so there's not going to be any fights into this matchup.
We have to unlock Alter Ego Era's X666. We don't even know who he is, but he has the most knockouts, if not the most eliminations title over to the left side of the screen there. Tiamba right now, early engagement again versus Alter Ego Era's. Oh no! Every time I pick a team, they always get into battle right off the bat. Anyway, Yuan's here seems to have a Tommy gun, as we call it. Some of the players of Alter Ego Eras was able to pick up a weapon here to defend themselves, and that is it. Pablo just came in hot, shutting down one player coming from Tiamba. Now make it 2.
Perfect with the jump shots. Pablo so far super efficient on all these bullets being pumped out of that chamber, and now only a crossbow left. Are you serious, my guy? I'm not too sure if it does any damage. It actually get that knock. Oh my god.
Ayo, ikuti kebiar 100 umroh kapal api. Miliaran hadiahnya. Insya Allah bisa umroh.
That's the first crossbow knock that I've seen in a very, very long time, but that's not enough to take out Alter Ego.
See, that is the touch of luck that we always talk about, right? You don't always get to the weapons first, and if you don't get to the weapons first, and then that's catastrophic for your team, and that's exactly what just happened to Tiamba right there. I mean, there was no way for them to kind of defend themselves, all but that machete right there. But anyway, jumping into LGD gaming here, ladies and gents, versus A1. So moments ago, or matches ago, A1 wasn't able to defend themselves right or properly, and now they do have the weapons here, and finally they want to fight up against LGD.
A little bit of awkward scenario for these members of LGD. You saw they were all clipped by that corner of the wall, and he wasn't exactly trying to fend off or trying to even pick up his teammates. He was just running around out there. So it kind of it a lot easier for the member of A1 Esports to secure it. Going into the kindergarten, it's for esports. Oh, they're already collapsing upon these members of Naxi Red Force. But we believe in Sky. He's going to be able to do the damage just like that. He swings upon two. And this is going to be the focal point onto RC. Can he just hold for a little bit longer? The answer is no. So far, all these predictions that we've put on the table, they've been winning the fight.
You know what? To be fair to the teams of PEL, I just got this information. I don't know if you already know it, but they have a completely not completely, but at least slightly different version of the game. So perhaps that is a reason, or one of the reasons why it's a struggle, for the PL teams to kind of adjust their gameplay when they're playing here for the Ruthless Hype esports community. But then again, they already have the skills, they already have the talent, and all they need to do is just really maybe expose themselves more, just so they can continue on improving when it comes to PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, exactly my point. I can repeat this again and again. Like, they have to play with VPN because their variation is the Peacekeeper Elite, which you can't exactly play on the global client. And by doing so, when you turn on VPN, naturally you will have like, I don't know, 200 ping, 100 ping
Yeah.
at the very least, which is why it isn't exactly the smoothest of run, but at least they're trying. And we give them that kudos for that, because you take a look at LGD, they're still within, like, climbing up there, trying to reach the top 10. So that's at least some good showing out there, despite the results does not really show that this is really that potential, because if everybody plays on 0 ping, that is going to be a super interesting tournament on what they're capable of.
I mean, it's a learning curve for everyone, right? I mean, take the Koreans, for example. They came in late to the game. I think they're just on the 3rd season right now for the PMPS, but now they're the current PMGC champs, so that speaks a lot. Even for Noble, I mean, it was his first time to step into a global event, and yet, they're the crown champions. So we might all take, a lesson from that one, that we cannot really be complacent at all times. That win coming from D plus Kia, I feel like it really sent all the shake-ups that happened in the South Asia teams. That is why there was a need for most of the teams to kind of change their roster, trade up their players. Hence, now we're seeing, the likes of America Vibes, where we're seeing like all superstars to be in one team.
Yeah, and speaking of the Korean region overall, right? I have a very interesting theory on why they made such a big impact in such a short amount of time. They do have very excellent PUBG PC players and also coaches that's been working behind the scenes. As we do know that, South Korea is kind of like the mecca of esports, with all types of titles that are pretty huge there. PUBG PC is one that they do excel in. And when you do have, proper coaching staff, as well as all these people behind the scenes to supplement, what's really impressive is that they also have super solid players to add on top of a structured organization, which is why you see the successes coming from DRX as well as D plus Kia, 2 very big names in the global stage.
I mean, you're right. I mean, if a team is really given an all-out support, they will definitely reach new heights. For, I mean, whatever industry, in whatever tournaments, in whatever games, or game title, for that matter. But okay, getting back into the situation here in Miramar, again, we're just at stage 1 here, ladies and gents. And if you can see those blinking lights over to your right side, it only means that the teams, or those teams, are still tanking the blue. So that would be ASIA, Team Flash, DK, GLU, and A1 Aero. And as for Rogue Warriors, they have been getting inside the game with only 3 players. Oh,
Sambal Indo Food banyak level pedasnya. Pedas, ekstra pedas, pedas dahsyat.
Kita foto yuk. Vivo V50, nice portrait, so pro.
okay, wait,
Camels.
just the dagger. Okay. So
Okay.
it's not horses anymore?
I like the update. It makes a lot more
What?
sense. I mean, what are the chances you see horses in the desert?
Wild West.
You see more camels, and then you take a look at some of the names of the city. This doesn't seem any portion of the West, it looks like. And take a look at the current circle. It does move into the deep corners of San Martin as well as the in-betweens of El Pozo as well as Power Grid. What's interesting that without the presence of BTR, nobody has occupied Power Grid at all throughout the entirety of the match. I've been watching the mini-map and nobody has even bypassed, so perhaps it's a really solid chance for Rogue Warriors to take that as a checkpoint. But I think for American Vibes may actually opt to do the same. So it is rather playable. A lot of region over on Power Grid is going to be up available. The other side of the hill over on north as well as the central area, it's a no-go zone. Anybody goes close, they're going to get shot. And that's happening right now as Blue Squad gets taken down.
Okay, here we go. It's a little quiet. I mean, it's not what we expect, but stage 2, okay. Teams are killing nothing but time at the moment. Probably everyone's just chilling out, because we got plenty of space to go for. Team Flash will be coming from down south, as well as ASI, who just came out fresh from Los Leones. Everyone's just flocking right in the middle. We've got a Team Secret RQ with A7 and Sem9. They're pretty close with one another. Horror Esports kind of chilling just up north there, but they do have a compound all to themselves, so I don't think they're going to be pushing anyone at an early onset. Alter Ego Eris is still scouting the northern part area of Miramar, but still no intentions as well when it comes to pushing a team for now. D plus Kia managed to put up 2 elimination points at an early onset as well, so that is good for them. But this is not what we expected though. Tops of 4MV currently knocked down on the ground, courtesy of Rogue Warriors.
XN just doing a magnificent job, but he's actually activating all by himself, and he's already putting Tops slowly bleeding out there to dry. I'm pretty sure that Reflex is not going to allow that to happen. So where exactly is the rest of Rogue Warriors as we see Zio trying to trade back? I think that's just about enough pressure, and the nades are being sent right in. Except he will have to fall back. So like I said, I expected these two teams to be moving into the area of Power Grid because it's left vacant. But Rogue Warriors, they have to now look for alternative plans, and they're just settling for the slum areas over on the outskirts. So perhaps there is an off chance that 4American Vibes can recommit into this fight.
Yeah, that could be the case. Okay, Tiamba, not part of the game. Yes, they were the first one to get the boot from Miramar, and now everyone is slowly getting into position here, picking up their picking a compound here. D plus Kia. Okay, that is a collision awaiting to happen since everyone seems to be gunning for San Martin. We've got Team Secret, GLU, ASI8, and D plus Kia right over there.
Take a look at this mini-map. RQ is in the godly spot where that hill is able to see just about everything happening inside Power Grid, San Martin, and the back valley as well. The problem is everyone's going to push towards the direction, so I want to see how well can RQ hold later on.
You have to grow a pair of eyes in the back of your head to be able to pull off such a great defense, considering RQ's position in the map here. I mean, there's Alpha 7 headed towards them exactly. Rogue Warrior right now must have gotten a brutal response from 4American Vibes because one of them is down on his knees, and just look at that dog with an M416 is just trying to do maybe like a tap and fire over there, looking to pop some heads. But again, we're seeing an incredible distance. It was Team Flash who stole the point from 4MV.
Well, that's a little bit nasty from the looks of it. Team Flash, they arrive around the corner and just goes in for a little bit of a big uppercut. But it seems to me that the rest of the Rogue Warriors, they will try to continue on with their journey. Still having 2 members out there. XN, he tries to get a little bit of activation, but it didn't seem like there was much that was going on for him. ZZ got eliminated out of that, so running around and even spotted out Sem9. I don't think it is a good place to take a pit stop for XN, but he's just gonna try to fall over onto the lower end of the dip as he definitely needs those covers up against the rest of Team Flash, who have been chasing upon him, and they just make quick work out of that situation.
Yeah, but Sim9 definitely heard those gunshots. Now, I do wonder where the rest of Team Flash is because definitely he's being sniffed out by the boys of Sim9. Now, he's popping off those smokes, of course, but he is already being surrounded by some teams as well from the other side of the mountain. A1, Hitman, down on the ground by Alpha 7 out tops with a massive spray up against Sim9. Oh, this is not what we expect, but yeah, Tops was able to do just that.
Yuk ikutan
Cobain Fanta Mixperience versi kalian.
ikutan sebelum 16 Maret 2025.
Yeah, Set9, they were being a little bit too curious on what's really going on over onto the other section, but they just got caught up on the rest of 4Miracle Vibes, and just like that, 4Miracle Vibes, they're even punishing Team Flash at the very same time. Oh my word. 4Miracle Vibes are just absolutely dominating everybody who's cutting across this far west.
They have everyone inside, that is for sure, and they're doing an amazing job as well, trying to get gatekeep, Team Flash and making it hard for them to step inside the zone. And so far, so good. But it's a great counter as well coming from Win. I mean, that was a great shot from this guy. I think he was able to put down Joel for Miracle Vibes. Yes, that is the confirmation right there from the kill feed.
Yeah, he almost got rammed by the buggy though. A little bit risky, but it does the job perfectly fine. So Team Flash, they could go ahead to recover bows, but the nades are already flying right through. Thankfully, it does not land directly on top of bows. They try to trade right back. Zeus is also cutting it pretty closely. Doc answer back with a couple of grenades as he does notice that member of Team Flash is just by the outskirts trying to heal up. Topsy is definitely having a really strong angle so that he could just make sure that he backs up Doc whenever he goes in for that push. More needs to be primed right through, and playing on that low ground for Team Flash isn't going to be all too easy. They don't really get to spot all these movements coming out of 4Miracle Vibes, but Zeus is doing wonders! He goes in from flank, he takes down Rowdy. Well, that's actually going to be a little bit more of a difficult situation as Doc. He gets turned around by Zeus, bringing in the DPS to play.
Man, non-stop action coming from all of these teams. 6 now elimination points from the side of Team Flash. They have been aggressive right off the bat here, which is, of course, what we all want to happen. RQ right now going in for the charge there with the DBS. Lapar has been making great efforts as well to gather a lot of points as much as he can for RQ. We've got Frankie on the ground, Team Secret. Now Trang definitely will be having a hard time picking up his teammate given the situation. I mean, RQ now has most of the control from that compound, so it is now time for trying to kind of move back a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. RQ, from the last position we saw, they actually push upwards towards the different direction and now won that trade as well. Pretty impressive out of RQ knowing what needs to be done because that prior spot will leave them super vulnerable. So they're not going to be holding it at least for the meantime. D plus Kia gets an early exit as they have been picked apart as Hora Esports have been going on a massive spree. That's 5 points already for the squad. Alter Ego looking really good. Your chances of scoring this time looking relatively high, Red Queen.
Yeah, and also looking good is A1 Arrow. I mean, 5 elimination points. Okay, slowly but surely. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say anything. But wow, what a dodge, though. Coming from Trang, he remains to be elusive from all of the nades being thrown at him by Badru of Alter Ego Errors, and now he's still on prone. He does have that element of surprise because Badru obviously doesn't know where he is exactly. Now the dance-off just happening. Now Badru goes down on the floor hard. We've got a Moore here who's trying to provide a mid-man support, but not connecting at all.
Man, these names of Alter Ego gets more and more confusing. I mean, now we add another different player to the list. Matter just got revived. I believe that to be Rosemary, and now it's going to be RQ, a very familiar opponent that Alter Ego have always faced back in their home region. The name is looking pretty good to flush off MG out of position, forcing the Pekko to also fall back. And just look at that aggression. I perhaps can confirm this is going to be Rosemary for sure. Now, looking at Pablo, he's also getting himself that off angle. It is going to be a little bit difficult BX has to fall back, and just like that, nades are being exchanged from both sides to the corner, and this kind of dip is just doing a little bit more of a favor for Depico to defend for the moment, while the rest of RQ are playing through the high ground.
Okay, Alter Ego Airs was able to reset a while ago. X666 was low in HP, but he was able to heal himself up. Now, RQ's been throwing a lot of nades now. Badru, on the other hand, has been knocked down once again, so I'm not sure about the integrity of his armors and vest there. No fear from Horror Esports and getting tagged by more of Alter Ego Airs as well, so we've got a lot of teams here. Maybe 3 teams having a battle here, but again, another dance-off happened between X66 here and their take of RRQ. I don't know, but Alter Ego Air seems to have been exposed to a lot of gamma rays because they're hulking out right now.
Yeah, there's just so many teams fighting for that spot, and here comes the rest of Horror Esports charging right through, and just like that, it is gonna be Jiggle that secures it. This is too overwhelming for the rest of Alter Ego. They were on the spot hill trying to challenge our RQ, which you saw. RQ have better defensive cover to actually work around with. Bowder now trying to actually force his way around, and he knows he needs to force the hand. It's just going to be do or die, and I guess that's where Alter Ego crumbles.
Yeah, it was a great position from Horror Esports. Major backstab that happened up against Alter Ego Errors. I mean, they were so eager to put down the boys of RQ that they forgot they're a little exposed over to the backside, and Horror Esports just capitalized on that information, and now they're challenging up the remaining boys of RQ here. Noga just received a lot of damage from that nade, but 2 of the boys of RQ slowly went back to that compound, and now I feel like they're evenly spread out in that particular spot, which will make it a little hard, for the boys of Horror Esports to penetrate that said compound. But you know what? ASI-8 is monitoring the situation, lurking within proximity, and might decide eventually to kind of push that compound where RQ is currently staying at.
Still a little bit risky. I mean, that leaves them absolutely exposed to the gunfire of RQ as well. So I think it's best that they leave them be and just hugged by these creases of the hillside. Meanwhile, it's gonna be another long tag coming in from Sky. Also being reciprocated in kind as well, where ASI-8, they are lurking over onto the back end. They take that prior position where RRQ were displaying, while RQ falls back into the compounds. That to be the center of the zone, which is why RQ has made those early advancements to be able to pick themselves that spot. Now, we're definitely going to see whether or not Ken Huzaifa as well as Casanova pry this one open. If they get a knock or 2, we'll see that percent coming in from ASI-8.
Number advantage goes to Horror Esports. I think that would be the first thing to happen, is a battle between Team Flash and the Purple Hearts. And we can see Sleepy. He has a great vantage point. He is looking over Team Flash. Bows is popping off those smokes to conceal their location, their position as well. But they're, again, Horror Esports is spread out. They have the best position so far, hence getting the upper hand advantage. Now Jiggle is trying to jump up and down here. Just wish that he doesn't overextend himself, because yeah, I mean, there you go. Okay, I spoke too soon again, Contra.
Well, it's just gonna be those kind of exchanges that does happen from time to time. Team Flash now goes on a rampage. It's been 10 points already from the get-go. They've been farming big numbers, and Team Flash, they're not messing around anymore. They're feeling rather hungry, now hunting out against the rest of these members of our esports. They're still having 3 members strong, just about enough squad strength to match up with the rest of the pack. 3v3v3 on each side, and it's just no clear-cut answer as to who's going to be having the biggest leverage. Other than the spot that RQ has, it's definitely going to be tough to actually defend when multiple teams push in at the very same time. But the good news is these teams are trying to settle scores on the outskirts. Damage being done as Sleepy as well as these other members of 4 esports finding it tough to defend. The nades are being propped right in. The rest of Team Flash, they are about to close in onto Sky and Sleepy.
I don't want to blink because I don't want to miss a thing here. Okay, smokes are being popped off onto the side of Horror Esports. Team Flash just continues to apply a lot of pressure by throwing a lot of nades here. Wen is still holding on to one while Bows is slowly backing away for now. Okay, while he was healing up. So that means Horror Esports, they have a chance to move forward a bit, but I don't think they're going to be leaving that spot because, well, we've got a No Fear just keeping an eye on everything that is happening. So, I mean, a backup support will definitely be provided by No Fear effectively if they don't leave that spot. Anyway, Team Flash, there's no urgent.
Batuk dan pilek mengganggu keluarga. Fix Formula 44. Legakan batuk tidak berdahak, tenggorokan gatal, pilek, dan bersin. Untuk rasa hangat di tenggorokan. Fix Formula 44.
Urgency here, I mean, they don't really have to push for now. Maybe they should just wait it out. But then, you know, the trade, the back and forth situation between these two teams is a very entertaining one.
Definitely, yeah. It's definitely taking a while where there's just a truce to be called for the moment. For esports, definitely wanting to ensure that they have pretty much some clear-cut answers as to how they actually paved their path over onto these sectors. Well, Team Flash, they're having very little defensive coverage, and this is where they trade right back. Sky trying to retaliate with a grenade of his own. Took them a while, but look at Bose. He's about to also join in the party. Well, Zeus gets naded. This is that golden opportunity for Horror Esports to just crush them right now.
Oh yeah, that was the essential knock that Horror Esports has been looking for. But Wen, again, very effective counter. What a way to answer Horror Esports back. Now Wen with a DBS. Oh, this is going to do good with a CQC. Now let's see. The back and forth dance-off is still happening between these two teams. No Fear just went in for the charge. Was able to get one, but unfortunately Wen responded again with an effective shot. And there you go. Ladies and gents, Horror Esports just got eliminated by Team Flash.
Win again with another clutch masterclass. What else can they do in this map? They're just gonna go in for the save, but take a look at Crypto. He's charging right from the back. This might just be the bane of the existence of Team Flash as they are unable to save Zeus over on the course of that mix-up where Baby is just gonna be tagged up, and now they finally get the catch. Down to one member left as Team Flash might just be shut down by Crypto overall on his immense effort pushing it alone.
Woo, oh man, what a turn of events here, ladies and gents. Wen is playing on another level here, that is for sure. The way that he counters, it's so effective, it's hurting a lot of members, or a lot of his enemies. But anyway, 3 teams down to 2. Flash just got eliminated.
Oh man. They barely got themselves any form of a reset at RQ. They've done enough waiting, and now charges right through. Huzaiba being spotted up, soaks up a couple of damage, and the entire squad is already on him. They also spot out Crypto on the other corner, and this is all down to Crypto right now. 1 versus 2. There might just be a revive to make it 3 for RQ.
But he's so far away. I mean, this will give time for RQ to reset. Okay, here we go. Lepar is currently knocked down still, and Baby, of course, he's trying to find that perfect angle that he can capitalize. Of course, RQ popping off those smokes. They're healing up. They're trying to reset. They're trying to recuperate. Baby trying to find, again, an opening to shut down RQ at this point, but Nogat now already inside his vehicle, getting some information. He spots Baby. Baby went in for a charge with Scarlight, but might be the end of the lineup for ASI 8.
Yeah, it's all down to isolating whatever targets he can find. We believe that Crypto has been doing a lot of great duels thus far, but RRQ's got 3 members out there. If they swing in tandem, this might just be tough, and the only nade was that nade. RRQ Ryu, the Kings of Kings, are back at it again in Miramar to dominate.
Oh my goodness.
okay, they found that spot inside the compound. They managed to at least chill for a moment. But once they saw that fight happening between Team Flash as well as ASI, they just unleash whatever that's left in the tank to just back this big win.
Okay, so RQ, they claim the WWCD with flawless rotations and, of course, excellent zone control all the time, proving their mastery on Miramar's unforgiving terrain. And there's also ASI 8 Esports, of course, who showed resilience, finishing strong with consistent plays, of course, to secure a top spot in this match as well. And who can forget about Team Flash? I mean, they lit up the battlefield with 13 elimination points. Their aggression, I mean, it paid off, They tore through opponents with precision and flair.
They definitely did, and overall, Nougat as well as MG really have backed each other up, especially when we saw that there was a tight situation between RQ as well as Alter Ego. Sovel, the Pekko, they were kind of pinched, and that's where the long-range snipes come through. And just like that, RQ defended their territory to the best of the capabilities. But to my surprise, out of all these 4 names out there, Team Flash, they were fighting from the outskirts all the way in, and they've got the majority of all these points gained from all these elimination points throughout their fights.
Whew, man, I do need to catch my breath here. But Miramar proved once again that it rewards calculated strategies here, contra and sharp execution. And RQ's steady dominance clinched the win, while Team Flash stole the show with their elimination points. And of course, with the momentum shifting and strategies evolving, the competition is definitely heating up. We're looking at a Nugget here from RQ and Sleepy from Hora. It's pretty close with one another, except for the damage output here coming from RQ Nugget. I mean, understandably so, they have gone through more fights compared to Horror Esports.
Yeah, and overall, just looking at Sleepy really taking charge of all these fights. The Horror Esports, they managed to secure that North Point for a very, very long time. And there was a certain instance that they were rocking up against even Alter Ego, managing to stack just a couple of members. And that kind of paved the way for RQ to also get some defensive maneuvers as well. So these 2 names, I want to see them go on a battle again, because Nugget so far has been able to actually match up to the tempo play of Horror Esports that has been so feisty throughout the match.
Oh yeah, agree with you again. It's a different horror that we're seeing right now if we are going to compare their performance during the Night of Champions. But again, we don't want to take the spotlight away from the MVP of the match here, which is, of course, win of Team Flash, 7 elimination points and 1,239 damage output. Now, he was able to get my attention. We don't know who he is exactly, as you all know, when it comes to off-season tournaments, these guys would love to mix up their names or like change their IGNs or like their handles and not give the portrait to the organization. But his performance says a lot. We've seen all the great counters coming from this guy. Again, just like what I mentioned a while ago, he was playing on a different level.
Indeed, he was, and we'll just take a look at all these names out there. They definitely have been able to really put on quite the showing. Team Flash, this was a massive 18 points, but not quite enough to overtake RRQ with 9 points and a chicken dinner to add to the tally as well. But consider this a massive run for not only them, but also Horror Esports with that 13-pointer and 10 points in for ASI 8. So the South Asians are also rising up to this current matchup, so expect more coming out of ASI and Horror Esports coming next.
Yep. At least on this round, we've got 5 teams who kind of dominated. They ended the game with a double-digit score, so that tells a big story about these teams, right? For Miracle Vibes, surprisingly, down at number 8 with only 4 points, and Sem9, Weibo Gaming and Tiamba down at the bottom here, having no score whatsoever. there's a lot of things that can still happen. A lot of stories can still unfold. But of course, during this match, we're also looking at the numbers here: 160 for the throwables used, airdrops looted. We've got 2, and as for the longest elimination distance, it's Sinister. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because we fought in Miramar, and this is a safe haven, for all the snipers and who are good with their aim and recoil control. And Sinister was the one out of everyone who stood out when it comes to the longest elimination distance.
True enough. And when it comes down to, team fights and everything else, I think RRQ so far has displayed to us how a massive 4v4 setup can actually work very well in Miramar when you are holding certain prime areas of play. So definitely, if you guys want to learn a lot more, you can just rewatch what went on in that previous match. So we get an update, and AE is currently sitting at the top as they've been able to still add a lot of all these points for eliminations alone. They're the feistiest of them all with 26 elimination points and no chicken dinners thus far. And Horror Esports is also matching up to that speed as well with 31 points, tied with 4 Miracle Vibes.
Yep, I mean, the gap is not that far just yet. Then again, with the current system that we have, or point system that we have rather, there's a need for them to add more aggression, I guess, into the mix, into their ingredients in getting that WWCD, just because, at an early onset, you should be able to build your foundation, just like what 4 Miracle Vibes did in the Night of Champions. I mean, it will give you that little space, that little room to make mistakes inside the game. And if you do have that enough lead point to start off, then it will be easy for you to kind of go through all the remaining matches in a tournament.
And looking at the current standpoint over onto the bottom of the tally, so far we haven't seen much of an activation other than, A1 Esports getting that longest range shot coming in from Sinister. 7-9 Longship Net Force, it's kind of hard to believe that they're currently sitting over onto the lower spectrum of this matchup. I mean, some can also say the same about the PLL side, but I think I've explained just about enough on what kind of struggles that they're actually going through as a region when they're playing, globally, when they're not playing in a LAN setting, because it is kind of tough dealing with those latency stuff. But overall, I definitely think that we are seeing at least some decent competition overall coming in from the rest of the boys. Sem9, they got to step up, and hopefully in these upcoming games, some of these guys will be able to do so. So, break quick, we go on a quick break, and we'll be right back for more action here in Ruthless Hype Esports. That's just a quick water break, and we are already back in. So I guess you guys didn't really miss us for far too long. So that being said, that was a massive victory coming from RRQ. And if you just noticed, other than the win coming in from Brazil's finest Alpha 7, the rest of the chicken dinners today has been dominated by Southeast Asia. We got RRQ, we got BTR, we got even some of all these hard hitters coming from Thailand's very own Vampire Esports. Who else is gonna stop these guys from getting everything on the table?
Yep, we're gearing up for the next round here, ladies and gents. The previous match on Miramar, man, I am breathless to be exact. Again, it was all about calculated rotations. RQ dominating the late game for a chicken dinner, while Team Flash, impressed everyone by racking up 13 elimination points. And now that we're heading back to the classic Erangel, where anything can happen, by the way, with Alter Ego Era's Horror and 4 Miracle Vibes leading the overall leaderboard, the stakes are higher than ever, obviously. So can these top teams maintain their momentum, or will we see a new contender rise and shake things up, since we're getting another group to get into the mix here?
Yeah, and I think that perhaps it's going to be a new name out there, or it could be some of the repeat names out there where we come back into the prediction. I'm happy. I mean, I got one. I'm looking for my second. This time I'm going to choose something relatively different. It's either hit or miss, so there's a good chance for everybody else. I'm going Boing Donkey.
Boing Donkey.
Yeah.
All right.
They've been a little bit quiet, and I think that if they really want a shot, they got to start right now, because their other brothers from Indonesia, they're starting to get everything on board. So Alter Ego is production's choice. So Red Queen, you got enough time to think, and what's your verdict?
I'm going with my Purple Hearts.
Okay, or Esports. I thought about it as well. I mean, they look so good today. I'm saving it for that Miramar and the very last match if they're playing. Or else it's tomorrow, there's always tomorrow, there's the day after, and also Tuesday. So yeah, things are looking really good. So we got predictions. What about you guys out there in the chat? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Purple Hearts running in the chat right now.
I know.
Just like Red Queen. I know you're staring at the YouTube space right now. Meanwhile, wherever you guys are from, of course, make sure you guys respect everybody else out there. We take care of each other here in Ruthless Hype.
Oh, yeah.
Esports. So, of course, keep the chat all friendly.
No doubt. I'm very flattered because just now a lot of you guys followed me on my Instagram. So thank you. Again, my heart is happy.
What about me? Do I have followers?
Don't forget about Contra, guys.
Just kidding.
That's the kind of support that us casters always hope for, because we always give you guys a great show. It's always within our goals to give you guys a very entertaining show and to give justice to all of the geniuses gameplays that your favorite teams are putting it out there in the battlefield. So thank you. By following us, we also make our community grow, and that's always one of the goals, to kind of put our thing, this esports thing, in the mainstream.
That's right. I mean, it's already pretty much in the mainstream these days out there. So kudos to you guys, whichever generation you guys are from now watching. All our top players playing globally. Of course, it's been a little bit of a tough run for PEL side. I think I've said time and time again. So don't be too harsh on them in the chat. Of course, if you guys are wondering why exactly is the case, of course, their connection isn't exactly the most stable coming from their region to play on the global server. Overall, of course, for A7 Esports, they are still managing it for a bit, which, you and I were relatively surprised. Where in the Night of Champions, they play super efficiently. And I think the key to A7's performance is this team play coming in to always back up Corellia when he's going on the offense, and he's also having Favo to be one of the heavy hitters to be able to match up to that pacing that they're playing. So Alpha 7 definitely is still going to be a hot contender in this matchup.
That is for sure. I mean, the fact that they're playing in this tournament smooth like criminals, I don't know. I mean, we always expect like for them to have some sort of technical issues, but so far so good for Alpha 7. And the fact that they're here playing in the same lobby as well as everyone else is, I think they're the only NA team that we have in the lobby. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the time zone difference, ladies and gents. I mean, like,
Yeah, what time
despite
is it in Brazil?
I don't know, maybe morning. I mean, despite that fact, okay, I'm looking at the wrong direction. Okay,
I gotta Google this right now. Like
despite that
time in
fact, you know,
Brazil.
they're doing great.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna get my answer in just a couple of seconds. And time in Brazil, you're absolutely right. They're playing at currently 11 a.m. approximately. So imagine they started like a couple hours ago. So
Yeah.
kudos to the
my
coach.
God.
Coaches, you guys are the MVP. You guys managed to wake your players this early to play. Or if it's coming from the players themselves, even more impressive. They eat, sleep, PUBG, mobile, and repeat. That's the schedule for the Brazilians. That's crazy.
You know, I remember casting for ESL. I remember. Okay, that was it was a Brazil tournament. I'm not sure, but my call time was 4 in the morning, and I
Yeah,
casted with Sir Cloud.
makes sense. Yeah. And I remember I did one cast as well. It was a little battle royale game, and it's for a World Series, tier tier 1 event. And it happened in Brazil. I was casting from say 1 a.m. till
Oh
like
man.
7 a.m. So yeah, it definitely seems like it's absolutely right. So that is, of course, me being in the Malaysian time zone. But for some of these guys, I mean, they're directly on the opposite side of the world, which means it's perfectly evening for them to actually play. So that being said, I mean, the level of commitment coming from these players absolutely deserve our respect. Like, we think about all the teams coming from, whether if it's Central Asia, South Asia, and everywhere else who's playing with us, they got to commit a lot of time, effort to also align with the schedule. And all
Mm-hmm.
this, of course, we thank Ruthless Hype to bring on one heck of a show for everybody out there. And
Mm-hmm.
speaking of which, we're already on our penultimate round of day one of the grand finals. This has been a splendid day so far. We're moving back into Wrangle. I know there's a lot of expectations on the line. The race is still on, Red Queen. This
Oh
time,
yeah.
I guess that you guys are going hard on the predictions. I hope some of you guys out there in the chat get it right as well, as we're about to move in to our second last map of the night.
Yes, sir. You know what? After for Alpha 7, after a defining year during 2024 where they secured their first international title at EWC and kind of showcased their resilience in the PMGC, going toe-to-toe with the world's best. Alpha 7 is ready to take on yet another challenge with, of course, players like Carillo and Revo, and they're bringing both firepower and leadership to the battlefield, especially on this one. I mean, it's not expected, to be honest. I do expect them to just kind of observe, but they're really playing the game, which is, of course, great for each and every one of us.
True enough, and we are also seeing another island start coming in with Flight Path. But there is a chance that we might see a little bit of a change of scenery, where today we have not seen any circle to be occurring around, the main peninsular's northern region or even in the far eastern corner. So Lipovka will be pretty fun to actually witness. So we'll have to definitely see on how this one will play out later on. LGD, without the presence of foreign Miracle Vibes, they are taking over the entire sector of the Milibase.
It was a fast wrangle that happened in the previous round, so perhaps we can see a back-to-back military base finish. Okay, we're just waiting for it. It will show up in just a few more seconds, ladies and gents. But this is a different. Okay, because 4MV is not playing in this round, so LGD is the one dropped around military base area, and then this Team Secret. I believe there are two teams that dropped around Novar, and then we've got a Deceiver again haunting the halls of Pochinki area, but it's JD Gaming right now in an altercation. One of them already down on the ground here, and they're going up against the boys of the Purple Hearts.
Saat aku butuh kopi, ya kopi ABC.
That's right, and just like that, off the bat, already hitting the mark. Wow, swiftly done by Sleepy, wasting no time to secure the first blood, and this is just going to be a little bit of a tough fight as we are seeing Alpha 7 to take on the rest of all these members of Alter Ego inside of the Pubg. Not as strange to see them battle so early on. That nade! Oh, Pablo! Pixel perfect, and he's got that Scorpion in hand. It's going to be a close fight to the finish line, but the rest of A7 are slowly getting depleted.
Impeccable timing coming from Pablo there. That was an essential shot with that nade. Now here comes again more of Alter Ego errors with nothing but a handgun. Was able to pull off a kill there. Now Jiggle is trying to go back and forth, swing it to the sides. Trying to put down a player from JD, but he's having a hard time though. Now we've got Thunder Talk Gaming on the screen right now, having an altercation with the Team Secret. We've got a Bison doing its job up against Team Secret, ladies and gents, and that's coming from Love, but he is the last remaining player from this side of town, and he is in a world of trouble now that he is being hunted down by Team Secret.
It's down to 1 versus 1. He cannot allow them to actually go in for the revive. Look, he's only got bandages to work with. He does not really know for the fact that that other player is just falling really low. And we're also looking at Jingle once again to take down more members out of JDG. Kudos to production, where the observers are really working really hard to bring us every single angle of all these fights, where we pop from one fight to another. Where look at Thunder Talk still getting it done, but it's not quite enough. The revives went through. And it's Team Secret that wins out the trade at the end of the line.
All right, here we go. No Fear cooking up that nade, getting ready to throw at JD Gaming again. Lone Wolf, ladies and gents, went in for the fire, but not hitting his target just yet. But you know what? For the Horror Esports, even though they have the upper hand advantage up against JD, they already have 2 casualties here. So even if they win the battle, the big question here right now, Contra, would be, can they still win the war?
It's a really tough answer to comment right now, as it's really down to this final member of JDG to just play by the washroom, it seems. Jiggle knows he's there. It's just that to swing that angle is not going to be an easy task, especially it's going to be an 8 km at the ready. Well, they are sending those nades. They try to confirm it, but quick run. Quick thinking as well coming from the member of JDG to try to go in for a big wraparound, and as he tried to pull back, barely enough health. He's still got an AUG to perhaps cause a bend towards this side of Horror Esports. So far, damage being done, and that passive is just about enough. That's a kill for the crossbow.
Wow! What a kill coming from Horror Esports. But then again, you know, in that process, 2 of them were taken out of the equation, and we are just at stage 1. So there's plenty more battles that they have to go through if they want to get to the latter stages of the game here. So might as well focus on getting those placement points rather than elimination points. That could be the best strategy they can pull off for this round. Anyway, 12 teams, ladies and gents, Alpha 7. At an early onset, got the boot out of Erangel as well. So we've got at least 3 teams, or 4 teams rather, already out of the game, which includes Thunder Talk, JDG, and Weibo Gaming.
It's just going to be a little bit of a rough ride with a few members left for the side of Horror Esports, but that was still a very massive victory. You see the Daves with those 4 pointers. Yep, they won out those trades. So tough luck as we're looking at some of all these other names out there, who's just taking a little bit of chill pill, LGD plotting up something up against Frankie, who has just visited the corners of the Novar noise sector, or should I say, it's actually LGD that cuts by into the sector instead, because early on we saw that fight taking place between Team Secret as well as Thunder Talk. So the big brothers of LGD says, you don't mess with our guys. And looking at the side of Team Secret, I think they're whittled down to only two members right now, as MVM quickly cuts across to secure the kill onto Frankie.
Ooh, big threat coming from LGD. But anyway, okay, Team Secret, now that they're down to just two players, I think it's time for them to just move away, you know, back away from the situation, live to fight another day, that is. But coming off the kill feed, it's the Savior, I guess, picking off some players here from NS Red Force. Yeah, in another part of town here. XZY currently down on the ground. Doxy left to defend him. Natty T's trying to dance him off with a shotgun as well, but Doxy falls victim to Levi's instead. So the Savior once again dominating this clash.
Yeah, just looking pretty clear as to how they've been able to navigate their way through that. Just barely having enough of these covers. Noshim Red Force now forced to play with two. M249 with a 6x scope can actually turn that into a sniper. Well, I've seen this happen before, especially in those early days of the PC counterpart. Some people actually do that when they put that 6x on board. If you just go for taps after taps, you're not going to spray because you're just going to be seeing off the sky because of the recoil. But the first couple shots is actually super accurate on the M249.
Mm-hmm. Team Secret just opened fired up against LGD, but did not connect at all. So that gives way for LGD to escape a possible clash scenario. But coming off the kill feed, it's Alter Ego Airs versus D plus Kia, and one of the players from or not D plus Kia, that would be D Savior. So one of the players from D Savior is currently knocked down, but the good thing or the upside about this is the fact that they do have a compound working out for them, so they're surrounded by concrete walls. But of course, Fourth Tribes is kind of checking out, gauging, and getting enough information whether or not it's safe to actually crash that compound.
Take a look at the south side. I mean, LGD, they're playing the blue zone to further commit onto that member of Team Secret, and now Shiki's pretty much stranded. He's all alone. How is he supposed to actually get out alive? If he's not being claimed by LGD, the Blue Reaper will take him down.
Lynx looking to pop some heads as well. Great distance, though, from Team Secret. GK was able to pull off a great evasive maneuver from that attack. But anyway, they are being hunted by LGD right now. 2 elimination points, though, for the side of this PL team. And now they are traveling to get to the main peninsula, but right behind them, Team Secret opted to just, okay, you guys pass through the west side, the east side rather, and we'll pass through the west bridge to get to the zone safely.
In which we're already seeing an altercation break loose over on the north point where they're fighting for that patrol station. Void Donkey! Oh, this is gonna be really tough as BTRs slowly starting to smoke onto them. Closing in the distance, Razy might just actually be able to nade them all down as they're on the outskirts inside of being indoors of the current gas station. They did manage to squeeze past, but take a look at the rest of BTR. They're already closing right in. Federalis just squeezing the right angles, forcing Razak to be pretty much pinned down. Well, that is just for the commitment. They will cut one member out of that cause. Ondaki, they're just trying themselves to defend to the best of their capabilities, but this area is just too tough for them to hold, especially with even shots being fired from above.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't even understand why teams choose to take position in this spot, because it's really hard to defend.
Well, I guess like usually it's really good for you to just hold out for a temporary measure as a pit stop. Or if it's going to be a super late game scenario where you are just hoping to just hold for some form of cover, but being this early is not really for you much of a repeat. But Foxy, oh my, that was pretty close as they managed to still clear out the rest of Boindaki, but Boindaki kind of make it a little bit more painful. I guess there goes my prediction. I mean, I kind of thought it's either go big or go home. Seems like BD went home.
Yep, it's always a risk, right? Playing in battle royale. So again, a lot of factors plays in to be considered as the winner for any of the matches here, and I'm still gonna say it. It's really hard to defend. It gives me all of the stress whenever I see a team get into that particular spot and tries to go for other teams who kinds of decides to surround them. I mean, anyone can take them from behind, and it's just in front of a hill there, which also gives a great vantage point for that team to obliterate them. So I don't know. Again, it's a vulnerable spot for me. But anyway, getting back into the game here, ladies and gents, the circle is definitely small. So in just a while, it's gonna get crowded because a lot of teams coming from the north, coming from the south, is about ready to get inside the safe zone. And I feel like GLU and BTR will definitely have an exchange here, as well as D Saver and probably the boys of D plus Kia and LGD.
Sure enough, and so far looking very steady for some of these guys of Alter Ego. They have ghost majority of the compound just by the Fork Road. It's gonna be tough for the teams to be able to challenge it, which is why we could see majority of them are just trying to swing around the outskirts, trying to book a spot through the high hillside. D plus Kia playing this a little bit more passively as compared to how they have used to actually play out. Especially in the Night of Champions, we see D plus Kia doing a whole lot. This is a little bit of a far cry from their best gameplay that we've seen so far. So I really wonder, like, what exactly changed for the side of D plus Kia.
Yeah, you're right. They're a little bit passive in tonight's set of matches, and also for GK Team Secret. I don't know what he is still doing, tanking the blue zone. I mean, he is at the West Bridge, haven't gotten inside the main peninsula just yet, so could be difficult for him the moment that he gets inside the circle. I mean, he could easily get spotted by the other teams who is sticking right at the edge. But anyway, Alter Ego errors right now on your screen. I see anyone contesting them at the moment? Yes, Vampire Esports and Horror. They are within the proximity, so this could be easily be a three-way battle in just a few moments.
It could just be the case. So it's all about finding the right moment to actually strike. And for the side of Glue Squad, so far they haven't really had a good round running for them. Maybe a couple of pickoffs in between some matches that they played out, but I want to see how far do they go as they do make it to the top 10. They can actually score even more out of placements. Well, so moving into some of all these matches I've seen prior to this tournament's Glue Squad, they are a very aggressive team. Sometimes, like, they disregard their safety, which is why they don't really see that much of a point gain from placement after all. So now that they're in the best spot, I want to see them play defensively. How well will they hold up, because they're very close to center.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, BTR getting shot at by Thalak of 4 tries, but he's been getting some counter as well. Team Secret just got eliminated with 4 elimination points. Man, I don't think he was able to even use his weapon that much, to be honest. I mean, he was tanking the blue for most of the time there. 9 teams remaining. Bigatron managed to put up 2 elimination points. Not that big just yet, but then again, it's too early to say just who will dominate this last Erangel match that we have for this evening. Bigatron, they are currently staying over to the east side of the map here. I don't see any teams that might contest them just yet, but Alter Ego errors, man, one of them currently knocked down. D Savior kind of on a rampage at the moment. And from the kill feed, though, it's T24 with a mini 14 was able to get a point.
Ooh, wow, that is considered a pretty nifty pickup out there. Alter Ego still in a really tough spot overall, as you can see that they're yet to pick up their fallen members out there. Nikki now trying to flush that position out of these members of seems to be your squad or so, but I could be absolutely wrong. Federales actually gets his catch. very sharp eyes coming up from Federalis. Expect nothing less coming from the best of the Philippines.
Mm-hmm. Do you know that he has another nickname? It's not the Filipino Terminator anymore, or another moniker, for example.
Well, let me know.
It's
What's that?
Fede now. It's Fede.
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 Is that what the Indos have given him for the nickname?
Yeah, because Federalis is too long. That's what they said.
Fede.
Fede. Anyway, Hora Esports right now getting into the game. Even though they're down to just 2 players, they are not afraid to engage. And right now they have to set their eyes on the boys of Alter Ego. Whereas one of them is currently knocked down, which puts them in a little bit of a pickle here. But X66 tried to went in for charge, but failed at the moment.
Yeah, perfect angle coverage coming in from the members of 4 Tribes as they are shredding apart these members of Alter Ego. Pretty much exposed by the corner screen. Just one tap is all it takes. T24 does it install. What a solid defense, and we thought that it would be tough, and it definitely would be while BTR just arrives to the scene, but are unwilling to commit because they just saw what happened to Alter Ego. If they do have grenades, it's the perfect time to pop it right now.
Ooh, man, again, 4 Thrives getting crushed by BTR. Here comes Satar leading the charge, and that is it for 4 Thrives, ladies and gents, getting a taste of their own medicine served by Bigatron. They exited the game, though, with 3 elimination points, so they're still A-OK. This is just day number 1, but for BTR, strong finish there with 7 elimination points, so, I mean, there's still plenty more to go, because we still got 7 teams remaining here. Now, jumping into Vampire Esports and D plus Kia, we were talking about D plus Kia just a while ago and how they're being passive at the moment. So I don't know how long they're going to last in this situation because Vampire Esports is about ready to get charged.
Yeah, speaking of which, there are just 75 members of D plus Kia, and it's now also to just hold on the line. Not quite enough. Too many members out of Vampires to deal with at the moment, and just like that, Vampire Esports have been able to just secure pretty much everything online down to Fabian, and Camel makes it quick work. So Shreps, my guy out there, have secured the 7 points for Vampire Esports.
Okay, all right, waiting for my my anxiety-induced music. Okay, there goes the background music. BTR. Okay, they have the best chance of scoring the chicken dinner for this round. We can see that No Fear trying to flush out the boys of Vampire Esports from that compound. They have 24% total of also getting the winner chicken dinner, which is right next to BTR. Hora, they are like sharks right now up against Vampire. They are circling and just scouting the area, getting into position. And Vampire Esports, well, we know this, boys, and they're not pushover. So here comes the attack. Here comes the charge. Divide and conquer for the side of VPE. They're in a 2-2 split here. And Hora kind of, okay, we're not taking this fight for now.
Yeah, they understand that actually this entire squad of Vampire Esports is still intact because they saw that fight happening. They wanted to eavesdrop for a little bit, but since it's 4 players against 2, they definitely have to fall back. Everybody on wheels, BTR also repositioned where eventually we saw even BTR closed in, so it was definitely a smarter move coming from Hora to pull all the way back. But just by driving by, you can see how much info these teams have been able to gain. No fear of being all alone inside this shack, though. He's gonna be preparing that grenade to drop at whoever drives nearby. Tony K going on a car chase. Oh, is this gonna be a efficient one? Because they're driving into the trap set by BTR.
Okay, here we go. Razy right behind this. Boulder just went in for a molly, but he's getting tagged from up above. They've got Federalis on the ground as well. He's bleeding out, but Tony K also received the major backstab right there. Onzen right now very low in HP. I mean, it's chaotic at the moment. Ventoras just took a hit. But yeah, does he have time to heal up though? Jiggle trying to get close. Oh, he will capitalize on this one.
Yeah, he's trying to steal whatever fallen members there is. You can see Jiggle's just looking for Glue Squad as well. All the 2 titans that fought each other are now being pinched and sandwiched in between. And this is just a dark world with No Fear getting one more on the block up against Glue Squad as Blast Punk is already on the ground. BTR did not manage to hold on while Vampire Esports tried to lick them wounds. Jingle now being swamped by the rest of the members of Boo. It's the XKF that last to see the ex-members of EVOS have now been able to sniff out some of the members out of Hora. Now it's only down to one. Victorious, what more can he do? The two members of Blue pushing through the smoke, and now down to Tarek. He goes for the jump shot, and Tarek, he brings it back. Glue Squad now finds themselves in the best spot, and suddenly the tides of turn. We have not seen D-Saber in action. Are they about to arrive? They're not part of the fight.
GLU squad did Hora dirty. I mean, they came from behind and took Jiggle down, which leaves us to No Fear as the sole surviving member of Hora Esports. They do still have a chance, though, of getting that WWCD, but not if he doesn't get into the safe zone safely. And you know what? For the side of these saviors, they're just making sure that, okay, we'll definitely get the win on this one, because Pathogen, he's so far away from the rest of D-Savior here. Levi's one, they're still up north hunting down GLU squad and probably the last remaining of Hora as well.
It's just crazy how these fights just erupted through the back end of the guilds on these slopes. Barely enough cover, mind you. And you saw that back and forth going on. I thought that VPE could have actually closed in on the final member until the arrival of both Hora as well as Blue Squad. Now, both sides absolutely damaged, down to one member and two members, respectively. D-Saber, they have came into the scene rather late, and now has gotten no clue whatsoever on where they're currently hiding.
Okay, again, it's quiet for now. GLU squad getting into position here. Pathogen getting information. Okay, tries to go for that middle window, but that was the wrong window to shot at. And now Haspy's just taking his time as well. He's looking for Pathogen to kind of settle down before he pops his head. But then again, Levi's is inside a vehicle, also trying to perhaps scout or find a spot where he can hide for now, or just maybe waiting for any critical moment to back up his team. But as for No Fear, he was able to get inside the circle, right at the edge, right behind that tree, and just looking at GLU and D-Savior.
Yeah, he's just waiting for the right opportunistic moment to strike. There is an off chance where Hora Esports can still close it out, because if the trades favor the Glue Squad when they go in for the exchange, then we might even see DX to be depleted, which is why you can tell that D-Saber, they're not risking anything at all. They're just waiting for the right moment to eventually infiltrate. And look at grenades. Paragon's got 8 grenades. He could absolutely put this to good use. He does notice there is a hit popping through some of these window pane. So these Savior, they're just going to send Woon to poke and prod, and perhaps these flank angles can actually work out with Levi's also cutting towards the back.
All right, here we go. It's still quiet here. You know, nobody wants to make a mistake and nobody wants to give way. That is for sure. Now we got D-Savior here. He's popping up some nades, but there is nobody home. There was nobody home. No Fear. I feel like he's already been spotted here by Paragon. Okay, but he's not moving at all. Okay, he's just on prone, covering himself up, because he would want to, of course, D-Savior to go up against GLU first before he joins into the mix here. And oh, what a tough situation though for Hora Esports. I mean, the circle completely got away from him.
Yeah, now he gets a close angle, and that's where they will have that confirmation. That's how Levi's as well as Woon work to just cause certain distraction, and Paragon's just gonna be waiting on the wings if he does find any form of angles for a catch. Hasby holding on to a different quarter while Tarek is on to the blue house. That's what I call it for now. I mean, you could argue it's green, whichever color it is. But there we go. 2 versus 1 up against Hasby, and then we'll see if Tarek's gonna get involved as well. Just like that with a nade! Levi's is just going to clear out this entirety of the sector. Hora Esports, another respectable top 3 finish as they keep the margins very close. I believe this could be a very good run where we might even see Hora Esports to be the #1 team by the end of the leaderboards.
All right, here we go. Obviously, D Savior has the upper hand advantage up against GLU, but maybe Tari's kit here can pull off a miracle. But no, I don't think so. I don't think this is gonna happen because D Savior pretty much is decided to get the chicken dinner for this round. Hence, wearing the crown for. It's always about the late surge for them. You know, it clinched the WWCD with flawless execution and strategic late game positioning, solidifying their dominance in this match. I know it's too early to say, but that was kind of awesome, you know, coming from D Saver. There's also GLU, of course, who played a strong and consistent game. Unfortunately, they it wasn't enough. I mean, going up against D Savior is a tough battle to begin with, so I'd still say it was a great effort and great performance coming from GLU. And Horror Esports, unfortunately they were down to just one player, but the thing is they continued on to prove their resilience with like well-timed rotations and key eliminations as well, securing a top 3 finish.
That's right, and this definitely allows the Saber to also bounce back because they have a couple of runs where they fall flat early, despite getting quite a number of eliminations. We know that they are absolute fighters, but when you allow space for Dingo Saber to play out, this is the kind of results they always deliver. Better late than never is they're just about to get the party started, although they did miss one big hell of a party between Vampire Esports as well as BTR. Now take a look at this as we have maybe just a little bit more defense to be used overall, and I think perhaps we're not exactly in the esports mode of the room cards, which is why perhaps these teams don't really get to stock up as many utilities as they used to. So maybe that's the reason why the utility side has been a little bit lackluster coming from majority of all these teams, or perhaps they just prefer to really go out to test their aim on how sharp they are throughout the lobbies.
Yeah, maybe that could be the case there, but let's just point out the fact that I just feel bad for Horror because they're down to their last player, and No Fear kind of did everything that he could just to make sure that they still get quite a great finisher. But I don't want to diminish the fact as well that GLU squad performed great. I mean, for this round, for as long as they could, they held on to that compound. But then again, it was a perfect execution, great timing as well coming from Dingo Savior. But the damage output, though, obviously 1,880. It's such a huge one compared to GLU squad. Hence, of course, D Savior was able to put up 13 elimination points. So, granted, that was already a given. And MVP of the match here, Levi's with 7 elimination points. But I mean, 4 eyes. That's what we call them, right? I mean, I do wear a pair of glasses, so everyone calls me 4 eyes. So maybe he can spot a lot more players inside the game compared to the other players.
Well, I mean, I take that as a compliment if that's going to be the case. But Levi's, I mean, just take a look at this handsome gentleman. If he looks to be such a great chat outside of the game, he's even more lethal inside of the game. So far, he's done the most damage output, the most kills in this lobby. Onsens actually followed very closely, and that actually begs the question, where exactly are the members of BTR? I believe it's pretty much well spread out between their members in terms of elimination points, and because BTR was fighting out in the open fields, it didn't really put them into any form of a retrieve where they could just find any form of cover. So that's still 11 points that sees them tied with Blue Squad, who scored that second place finish. Vampire Esports with 15, but this has been one of the higher points received so far by the Chicken Dinner team. That's a total of 23. That definitely puts DX up there on the radar.
I just have this one request. I don't know if there are fans of GLU Squad or even if the owners of the organization is listening, or like, I don't know, players from GLU Squad. Your jacket, the varsity jacket is just top notch. It's so beautiful. I want one.
I know, it looks really, really good. I've been asking my friends, hey, can I actually shop for these jackets? Like, well, if you guys are in Jakarta, probably you can. So we'll see. And of course, looking into the match stats, not only did the Savior actually win out the Chicken Dinner, they also have Paragin to be scoring the longest elimination thus far, 368 meters of a distance. That is quite massive if you ask me, and we definitely see bigger improvements coming from Trollables and everything else on board.
Yep. The Savior did not only secure the Chicken Dinner, but they have their precision and teamwork in the final circle unmatched, obviously, hence getting the Chicken Dinner. But looking at the overall rankings here, ladies and gents, massive performance coming from Vampire Esports resulted to moving up 6 ranks, and now they are at the top spot with 1 Chicken Dinner. But they are currently tied up with Hora Esports, who is at 2nd place. So I guess the difference is that Vampire Esports was able to score a Chicken Dinner. We got Alter Ego Errors as well, landing at the 3rd spot. So again, expect more shuffle to happen in the next days to come, because again, we've got 4 days to go for the grand finals.
That's right. Blue Squad, just by securing 1 second place finish, they now surge up 5 placements, climbing all the way up into 12. And we're going to be looking into even more names out there on the list. Still on the singular digit, so of course, all the best to all the players out there from the PEL side. And of course, I'm staring down at A1 as well as Sem9. And also Longship Red Force. I'm not too sure what exactly is going on. Could be exactly the same case where, it hasn't been all too stable for these guys out there. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow, I don't know, check on their routers or something like that, and they might just have a better run. But overall, I want to see them actually push themselves to the limit. So give them some time. We'll let them think, and we'll be back right after a short commercial break.
And here we are, ladies and gents, the final showdown of the Ruthless Invitational Showdown. The teams have battled through grueling matches, testing their strategies and, of course, resilience and nerves. And now it all comes down to this last round. Of course, this is where champions are forged and underdogs can race to seize the spotlight. My name is Red Queen, together with Contra, and we are still your casters for this spectacular event.
That's right, and overall it's been a splendid day, especially if you guys are fans of the teams who have played in the PMSL Southeast Asia, where majority of them have been able to bag themselves a chicken dinner or so. Now, going into Group B, we see, of course, more involvement coming in from South Asia, and of course, not forgetting our dear brothers hailing from Mongolia. For Michael Vibes, looking to find their ways back into the top of the podium. So I'm thinking whether or not can they actually secure it for our final matchup of the night. And chances are I'm actually considering that my vote this time looking very enticing. I haven't voted for Formacle Vibes yet. I think this is the time to do it.
Well, that was fast.
Yeah.
So it's going to be B versus C, right? How about your production? Who are you going for? Four Tribes. Okay, not bad, not bad. Okay.
Actually, good call. I mean, 4 Tribes, they always finish second or first in Miramar.
Oh man, this is so hard. Okay, day number 1. Making my head ache. You know what? I feel like VTR. Okay, let's just go for VTR.
Okay, you can't really go wrong with that one. So far, BTR, they're just really going on pretty much a streak of elimination points, even despite, you know, sliding off on top 5, top 4. I think they're still having that level of consistency. So who knows, BTR can score one more. Again, it has been very much of a SEA day, which is why, you know, I think that for Miracle Vibes and maybe even for T might just be able to stop that streak before, next day continues on. I don't want to see another SEA streak, do you?
Well, okay. What are my expectations for this? Okay. I just know that the tension from the lobby will definitely reach its peak, and again, it is going to be all about rotation since it's going to be in Miramar. So every fight could make or break the leaderboard standings. That is for sure. So teams like, let's say, Alter Ego Eras or like Horror and For Miracle Vibes, they have been leading the charge, but the question is, will they hold their ground, or will another squad step up and steal the glory in this? From this match.
Well, we're about to find out. Is we've seen a lot of all these early contests going on in exchanges, and it has been a really difficult day coming out of the teams to be able to make certain quick adjustments. So hopefully there's going to be a smooth cruise as we set sail to the sun, which is always bright inside of Miramar. So this is it, ladies and gents, our final map of the evening.
Whew, buckle up, PUBG fans. The desert is calling one last time, and the teams are about to leave it all on the battleground. So let's dive into the grand finale. Match number 6 here in the Ruthless Invitational Showdown.
And we're starting off from the corners of Puerto Paraiso. Some tinges of Impala set in sight as well. Oh, this is about to get really, really juicy, and I just can't wait to get things started. RQ's gonna be the first droppers, is they're gonna book the areas of Paraiso for themselves. Now I'm looking very closely who's gonna be the next one who's gonna be moving out over onto the corner. It's gonna be ASI, which traditionally sees them moving into the city of Los Leones, so plenty of grounds to cover. And then, of course, the other teams might actually be fighting for that spot in Picado, because Vampire Esports, I believe they're not exactly in this lobby, so to speak, while Rook Warriors are going to have a decent time without the presence of the Thai Titans.
I don't know if you guys saw the stats just a while ago over to the left side of the screen. Most eliminations, most knockouts, most damage goes to just one player. And that is coming from Alter Ego Era's X666. Now, I don't know if it's Rosemary, because Rosemary, he is no stranger to this kind of stats. He is no stranger at all at becoming the overall MVP tournament in a day. Or MVP of the day in a tournament. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Maybe, perhaps, it's Rosemary. We don't know. But we already have our first blood here, ladies and gents, coming from Vampire Esports. That would be Tony K. They're up against Rogue Warriors as we speak. Ventura's getting some information that, there is probably one person right across the street there hiding behind those buildings. Tianba also having a conflict to settle up against Four Thrives Esports, but I feel like Four Thrives has the upper hand advantage. Falak is now currently on the charge here with M249. Man, that is a monster of a gun to have at an early onset.
Yeah, just like that, they're just trading back and forth because we able to find it, and these teams are out here to party. Four Tribes looking razor sharp as they are shredding apart both Tampa and Semnai at the very same time. What on earth is going on with the start here in Monte Nero? But we absolutely love it. So far, 4 points in for Four Tribes.
Whew, okay, IQQ had already been picked up, so that will allow Four Thrives Esports to still dominate up against M9 here. We already have one of them currently knocked down on the ground, which is, of course, not a good sign on the side of Sam9. Ooh, what a way to dodge the attack. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that much space to work with, and so he finds himself knocked down on the ground as well. So far, it has already been 5 eliminations for Four Thrives. Looking at the screen, Falak needed a boost up because the fight continues on.
Yeah, it's been a very, very strong start that we're looking at. Is Four Tribes, they got all the right weaponry, and at the very same time, they got themselves in the center of the location. And once you have already set yourself into such a prime spot, it's really hard to actually have decent areas of coverage for the rest of the pack out there, which is why we understand why we see some struggles coming in from some of these other guys out there. Sem9 somehow keeps themselves pretty much afloat with still 3 members on board. I believe it was Yu High Boy that was taken out the list, so it's just a little unfortunate, but it seems to me that the coast seems clear now that 4T has already cleared majority of all these angles.
Tony K took a beating somewhere with an M249, but we haven't got the confirmation just yet if he's already out of the game. So I feel like there's still a chance for the teammates to pick him up in whatever situation they're in at the moment. No Key, on the other hand, there was a little mishap onto the side of Four Thrives, and Sem9 capitalized on that one, which makes this a fair fight, for them. If Inoki will not be picked up, then that is good for the side of Sem9. Here comes the attack now coming from Vampire Esports. We've got double X over here. Rogue Warrior, ladies and gents, with a DBS. One wrong move, and it could be meaning demise. But unfortunately, he was the one that got shut down onto the ground. Hence, Vampire Esports might be the one to claim victory from this exchange.
Yeah, it's been multiple victories already for the side of Vampire Esports. Really getting all these big counts overall, but with Rogue Warriors part, we can slowly understand why it hasn't been all too much of a successful trade. Meanwhile, going back into Monte Nevo, it is still going to be a little bit of a tough ordeal because urban setting, we know that it isn't exactly the most straightforward kind of fights for these teams to take, so it's going to take a while to settle down.
Whew, okay. Sem9 somehow still survived, even though they're down to just 3 players remaining. It's still A-OK. As for Vampire Esports, whew, I thought they were going to lose that fight, but fortunately, they are still alive and kicking. They're not the ones who got booted out of the game, right? Okay, I'm just checking it out. Four Thrives Falak is getting picked up by T24, and Sem9 is still not pushing 4T at this point. I mean, that could have been the opening they have been waiting for, charging up at Four Thrives.
Yeah, it could have actually been the case. M9 actually gets a chance once again to go ahead for a pickup, but that nade from Falak came in just the right moment. So that's a little bit tough of a stance for them to actually go in for that quick recovery. M9 still has super points to try to hustle up a fight. Down to him as well as Mucus, and it seems like this kind of close quarter combat is gonna look pretty nasty. Now he seems to have been fighting it out, and Superboy! Oh, he actually brings them down to the knees! Now, this looks a lot more doable on the 1 versus 1.
Well, Sem9 was able to turn the tables up against Four Thrives thanks to Superboy. Okay, I don't see any kryptonite just yet happening to Superboy, but this is a 1v1 situation. There goes the jump shot coming from IQQ, but at the end of that exchange, that trade-off played very well onto the side of Superboy of Sem9.
Indeed, it does, and my, we're still having these back and forths going on, and for Miracle Vibes, you're absolutely onto something right now. And just like that, Superboy claiming victory, the biggest clutch that we've seen today on that 1 versus 4.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was able to bag them all. Four Thrives taken out by just one player. Amazing. Wow. Okay, stage 1. And how many teams do we have already back at the lobby? Okay, it's just Tiamba. Okay, was it? It's just Tiamba? It is just Tiamba. Oh no, even Rogue Warriors. Okay, but both of the teams, okay, did not exit empty-handed. Tiamba was able to put up 2 elimination points at least, or no? Okay, no elimination points. Okay, scratch that. Even Rogue Warriors wasn't able to put up any numbers whatsoever onto the scoreboard. And now we're looking at 13 teams remaining. We're just at stage 1, but we do have 7 more seconds before we proceed to stage 2.
Yeah, and 7 seconds might actually seem like it's a lot, but look at the current standpoint, there's barely enough room, and it's kind of like a deja vu. We're moving now back into Power Grid. JDG, they barely have enough members to work with, and they need to battle it out with D-Saber, as well as the rest of Naoxin Great Force over the center of the zone. Speaking of which, Paragen already at work trying to flush all these other players on the outskirts.
There you go, Paragen making it rain bullets. But it's a good thing, though, because NS Red Force remained elusive from that attack. But from the kill feed, it's Bows of Team Flash getting shot at by A1 Arrow. Not sure if it can still be saved at this point, but we can see on the screen here we got Zayas. He already picked up the information as to where A1 Arrow is currently staying at. He's holding on to a Scarlight here. I'm not sure if Deadstorm knows exactly where his opponent is, but Zayas just capitalized on that one and did a massive spray. Unfortunately, wasn't able to inflict that much damage, and so the fight continues on between these two teams. Then Bows it will take a little time for him to get picked up at this point, but Win is already there beside him, just resuscitating him at the moment.
Yeah, it really feels like the rest of Team Flash, they just light up when it comes down to mirror rounds, and you can see they are playing so proactive. Now finds themselves pretty much clipped up by the members of A1 Esports. The nades are flying right in. Rowdy, you gotta quickly dodge whatever hurl of grenades, and like that finds the angle. Win does actually manage that trait, but two of his members have already been depleted as well. So they're not just out just yet. Looking at the rest of A1 Esports, they're still around the vicinity, trying to wrap this one out as Deathstorm has barely enough room to play right behind that vehicle. And just like that, Team Flash, they keep all members alive.
Oh man, I almost thought that A1 already had the advantage. I was this close to being sure that they can win that fight, but great counter though coming from Team Flash. I mean, if you're able to turn the table, turn against the tide there and make it work for you despite the odds going against you. I think that was a great execution coming from Team Flash as always. It only goes to show that they have teeth, that could sink in through your skin. And I mean, just to get that point, 11 teams remaining. We're looking at RQ. We've got Nogat right here displaying his 1 point under his name. We've got Thunder Talk staying in a compound where RQ is kind of just circling like sharks here, or probably like vultures, when they're aiming for prey.
Feels more like vultures just waiting for some of all these casualties out there. But usually vultures also, wait for corpses. I guess like these cases, it doesn't seem like it's just going to be corpses lying around. Well, take a look at that line of sight for D-Saber. Wow, what a trap. A little bit overzealous if you ask me, but I kind of like this kind of angle that DX is working with, but there's going to be a lot of teams coming from the south, which might overwhelm Nate T as well as Levi's, and I hope that they could still manage overall, because BTR are about to also charge in the same direction.
All right, here we go. The fight is about to happen. Make sure is not compromising his location, just is waiting for the right opportunity here. Element of surprise did not work out for him, and RQ was well prepared for that attack, for that surprise. Great display of reflex, though. Thunder Talk, okay, they're still alive. We've got Luck and She still playing. But, ooh, I think they are escaping. Live to fight another day. That would be the tactic from Thunder Talk.
Yeah, seems to be pretty much working out for now, at least. I mean, considering that they couldn't really play as aggressive as they want to because of what I mentioned before. So they just gotta play for placement points. Superboy, the hero of the moment, now falls with the bang of the grenade being tossed right in from BTR. So it is Fede that secures it.
Fede! Okay, I mean, this is a Filipino pride right there, raising the Philippine flag, playing for BTR right there. Okay, Void and Donkey, we haven't seen them really pop off in any given situation here, but then again, this is day number 1, ladies and gents. And Thunder Talk Gaming, a nice spot, from behind, was able to shut down Void and Donkey.